Hello, everyone, into the Computer America show. It is about, as you heard the robot lady, about 2 minutes before we actually start the actual show. This is a little behind the scenes thing. While we're getting everything set up for the, for the podcast and for everything that's happening over on Blog Talk Radio, and then of course everything that's happening on TuneIn and any other networks that happen to be picking us up. So just sit back. We're going to get everything up and going here and just make sure that, this is kind of an experiment, but I think it's an experiment that's going to go well because, of course, Google Hangouts itself has stopped working. So hopefully this is going to go well, and if it doesn't, I'm going to hear about it. So, again, about 1 minute until showtime, and let me just... All right, we're good there. All right, and let me just, keep doing some stuff behind the scenes and just sit back and
2
relax.
minutes until showtime.
As we are 2 minutes away from 2 hours of the Computer America show. Oh, and anyone out there who may be listening to this early, in the first hour of the show, we had scheduled a guest called Next Advisor, and we tried to get them in at the last minute. But sometimes with these last minute bookings, they don't work out exactly like we plan. And yeah, they were unable to join us on the show. But they are scheduled for, I believe, the 22nd of September. So if you were tuning in to check out what Next Advisor is all about, then again, just check them out on the 22nd, I believe, is when they're going to be on. So in the first hour, we are doing computer and technology news, and there are a lot of interesting stories and topics
until showtime
that we can really cover. So I'm really looking forward to it. And again, hopefully all of you had a really good weekend. And this week we have a number of correspondents on the show. They are some of the fan favorites. And, hey, hope that you enjoy what is that we're doing here at Computer America. So about 30 seconds, and then we will be ready to go.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It is the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast, and I'm your host, Ben Crossman. Craig is still out, and it's looking like it's going to continue for at least another week. So I apologize if you are tuning in early to see, man, is Craig back yet finally? And I'm going to leave you with a definitive, not yet. Not yet. He's not back yet. But, still holding out hope there. And, but in the meantime, I'm your host, Ben. I have been the co-host for quite a while now, and I think you are in pretty good hands, in doing what we do here because I've been here, and I've done it quite a few times. So, but one thing that's happening in the past couple of weeks that, I really do apologize for, but it's unavoidable as as some things behind the scenes here get shifted around. And that is the fact that sometimes we have scheduling conflicts, or we try to book someone at the last minute, try to squeeze in a couple of guests, and I've received a number of kind of situations where maybe they're flying out to go to a convention and they're speaking somewhere else, or maybe it just doesn't work in their schedule today. But in the first hour, I want to be very upfront about this. In the first hour, we have scheduled Next Advisor, which is a great service that you go to whenever you make a big financial purchase. They'll check your credit history, and they'll point you in the right ways to find financial help through a bunch of different applications, and of course through their network. But they were scheduled to be on, and the lady that was supposed to be with us is actually being rescheduled for the 22nd. So if you're tuning in to listen to them and everything that they have to offer with their with their service, then you might want to set your calendars back to the 22nd, because hey, things happen. But so the first hour is going to be computer technology news, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities, as we kind of just get Monday rolling, get this week off, to a rocky but manageable start. And so for the first hour, computer technology news, like I said. And in the second hour, though, we are still waiting on, and I believe we're going to have on Mr. Mel Arthur, who you may know from As Seen on TV. He's run many different programs products on As Seen on TV. He is actually the founder and CEO of the company, and he's going to be with us to talk about his latest product, which is The Cure. And The Cure is right up Computer America's alley. It's antivirus, anti-malware, anything that can go wrong software-wise with your computer, then you're going to want to hear about The Cure. And again, it's kind of targeted toward a less tech-savvy audience, as well as maybe your parents or your grandparents who are getting a computer for the first time, because let's face it, a first-time computer user doesn't need to go through all the trials and tribulations of debugging not even debugging, but getting malware off of their system. It's not something that's fun and is actually pretty technical, and that's where The Cure come in. You put it on, and they even have a warranty that as long as you have The Cure on and anything goes wrong with your computer, then they will replace the computer. I know there's really no chance of the computer dying, but they'll spend up to $1,000 to replace or repair your computer as long as you are using The Cure at the time of infection. So it's kind of like insurance for your computer, making sure that no matter what they do, they're going to be okay with it. So, and again, that's going to be in the second hour with, again, Mel Arthur. Just some things, to get out of the way here. Of course, computeramerica.com. That's where you're going to find everything from past show archives. You're going to find, the guest lists that are coming up in the future. You're going to find, of course, today's show and today's streaming audio, everything live at computeramerica.com. And, of course, all the links pointing out to, let's say, actually not even Google Hangouts. Yeah, and we will definitely talk about Google Hangouts here in a little bit, but point links out to Google+, to Facebook, to Twitter, to all of our different social media, and our social media is going to be integral to your experience here at Computer America, because first of all, you get to interact with us, and we get to hear from you. We get to answer your questions, hear your comments, and really, it's pretty easy to, we try to make ourselves accessible through social media, of course. But the other good thing is that we are giving away prizes left and right. And here soon, we are going to be refocusing on engaging our audience through social media. And that, of course, means, contest entrance. That, of course, means, polls and things like that. Just things that, hey, if you want something to change here on Computer America, then we will make it happen. And, it's not bribery, but if you're going to be listening to us anyways, why not win some cool stuff from all the different companies we have on the show, and including Logitech, who is the current sponsor of our, actually current and longtime sponsor of our giveaways. So yeah, and we're still giving away the Bluetooth M535 mouse, and we will be giving away one of those this weekend to a lucky social media listener. And okay, so there's that. There's Computer America. We have a video portion of the show, and you can again find that on the live stream tab. And by the way, also with the live stream, you'll also get a submit a comment. Just another way to contact us. But the live stream is going to get a lot better next week. Right now, it's just kind of my logo and of course the audio from our guest. But next week we're going to have a video where you can see. You're going to be able to see myself, the guest, if it's possible, as well as screen graphics, or if we're doing computer technology news, you'll be able to read along with the article with us. and really just, just enhances your viewing pleasure. Of course, that all starts next week. Currently not near the system that I have all my fancy bells and whistles at. And so it's the video portion, and I think that's just about it for the announcements here on Computer America. But one little topical piece of news, and I guess this is kind of part of computer and technology news. So we're just gonna play the little sound effect we have here. But suffice to say that this is pretty game changing, at least for us, and maybe for some of you out there. They said it wasn't really being used that much, but I know quite a few people who are going to be having to find replacements for this particular service. So without further ado, let's do computer and technology news. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Again, that's slimwareutilities.com. And definitely go check them out. I mean, I use them on quite a few systems that I have. It's a great way to just, tweak it, make sure it's all running smoothly, kind of clear out the dead registry, names and addresses and things like that. Also, malware and all that kind of stuff. So, go check out Slimware Utilities. Now, before we get into actual articles that are written by people who, actually have an informed opinion on things, or at least information on things, let's talk real quick about Google Hangouts. And for those of you who have been watching the show, and I really do appreciate everyone out there who goes to YouTube and watches the videos after the fact or watches the video portion live. That is a huge help to us, and we really, really do appreciate that. But one thing about the video portion of the show is that we use a service called Google Hangouts. And Google Hangouts, or at least Hangouts on the Air, which is a service done kind of through Google+. And it was, think of a Skype call, but you can invite people, through the browser. Like, you just had to install like the extension or the plugin, and you could send people links and just invite them into what was essentially a Skype call. And, we use that in quite a few of our interviews that we do here, on the show. Well, they shut down service for most applications because I don't know if everyone remembers, but Google said that they, by 2017, I think it was, or sometime in 2017, they wanted to make sure that any Chrome applications will not work unless you have, Chrome OS, which of course can be found on the Chromebooks and what have you. But things like Hangouts on the Air and other services, that are just kind of applications, they're not going to work with Windows or Mac. So of course, Hangouts on the Air, it went dead today. They no longer allow you to, and of course you can still see everything, everything that we've done on, Hangouts on the Air over at our YouTube page, but you cannot schedule further ones, and the only thing you can do, which is actually what we're doing right now, is live stream. And it's a pretty good facsimile to what Hangouts on the Air was, but it's not a one-to-one. And, it's going to take some work, but hopefully to the end user, it looks like it's just the exact same, although we're going to be able to do a lot more cool features, I feel, with live streaming. That said, it's, Hangouts on the Air going away. It's, if you use it, or if you use it for any of your systems and you're wondering, why can't I use this anymore? Well, that's the answer. They've killed it off, and Google, and of course Google owning YouTube, has merged the service with YouTube Live. And YouTube Live will be everything that, well, at least they promised. YouTube Live will be everything that Google Hangouts promised, it was. So, again, hopefully to the end user, it doesn't mean much. Though, I am happy to say, and, I don't really have too much of a grasp on it right now, but for really long-time listeners, and I'm talking, for quite a number of years, we had this system called a chat room. And, we promoted it quite a bit, and, the chat room was actually a very, very popular feature, but we decided to remove it. Well, one thing that happens with the live stream is that you automatically get a chat room. And, of course, there's an option to disable it, but I'm thinking for the foreseeable future, we are actually going to have a live chat room here with the Computer America Show once again. It's, we discontinued it, I want to say about 2 years ago, and we've gotten a number, and, seriously, almost weekly about, hey, where's the chat room? It just came back. I don't see the chat room anymore. Where can we find it? And, we'll put links in, up on Computer America eventually with the chat room. I mean, it's still kind of a beta thing, so we're going to keep it kind of hidden. But it's going to be a chat room where you can interact with, with myself or with other users of the Computer America Show and even ask questions of our guests. And just another way that you can interact with us. Again, though, it's I'm not going, and if you're watching on YouTube Live, you're going to be able to find it. It should be right underneath the stream. But as for this moment, we're going to keep it kind of hidden. But again, longtime listeners, you should appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what a live chat room can kind of evolve into. So again, looking forward to that. All right, so I think that's everything to do with I think it's everything to do with Google Hangouts. And, we still have plenty of time to do computer technology news, which we're going to do. And, we're just going to jump right into it. With our first one is going to be, a story that I felt is a little dystopian because, admittedly it's by Google and, we were just singing their praises, but there's something I feel a little sinister about, the concept behind it. And, of course, we are Computer America. We definitely take the America part of our program very, very seriously. In freedom of speech, we don't like to, as long as you're polite and respectful and all that kind of good stuff, and you don't use curse words, we'll pretty much let anything slide. If you want to ask our guests or if you have a question for the show or a comment for the show, we don't, we try our best not to delete comments off of our videos. If someone has a problem with a guest, we'll bring that up to the guest and try to resolve that. We err on the side of open conversation rather than censorship, because censorship, there's I think open conversation gives you a lot more, just gives you a lot more information than censorship ever will. And here, though, we have Google programming I would assume some kind of artificial intelligence kind of deal that is actually designed to censor communications on Google searches or just other places that Google has control over. And again, it's all completely automated, designed to and let me just read the article here. This is from a publication called The Intercept, and it's Google program to de-radicalize jihadis will be used for right-wing American extremists next. And, of course, I think if, next to Nazis, there aren't very many supporters of, jihadis and, bigots and what have you, that they're focusing next. But at the same time, it's the whole, freedom of speech kind of thing. So let's read into this, where this is by Naomi LaChance, and a Google incubated program that has been targeting potential ISIS members with de-radicalizing content will soon be used to target violent right-wing extremists in North America, where a designer of the program said at an event in the Brookings Institute on Wednesday. And using research and targeted advertising, the initiative by London-based Moonshot CVE and Google's Jigsaw Technology targets potentially violent jihadis and directs them to a YouTube channel with videos and refute ISIS propaganda. Oh, so that's not even censorship. It's just, trying to spread information. Interesting. Targeted information. And in the pilot program, Countering ISIS, the so-called redirect method collected metadata of 320,000 individuals over the course of 8 weeks, which used about 1,700 keywords and served them with advertisements that led them to videos. And collectively, the targets watched more than 500,000 minutes of videos. That's pretty impressive. And the event at Brookings was primarily about the existing program aimed at undermining ISIS recruiting, saying that, quote, "I think this is an extremely promising method," end quote. And they have a gentleman called Ross Frenette, who is the co-founder of Moonshot, said his company and Jigsaw are now working with funding from private groups, including the Gen Next Foundation, to target other violent extremists, including what they call the hard right, which, here in America means, the hate organizations, I guess, is the best way to put them. And so, they have a quote here saying, "Our efforts during phase 2, when we're going to focus on the violent far right in America, will be very much focused on the small element of those that are violent. And the interesting thing about this is how they behave is they're a little more brazen online these days than the ISIS fanboys." And and they even had so the Gen Next Foundation, based in California, was founded by a group of young executives, authors, and entrepreneurs, and others to fight terrorism. And they say they show some things, and some of the examples of the videos that they are trying to push. People who use certain keywords too, where there is, let's say, a video from a woman who has secretly filmed her life in ISIS-controlled Raqqa. And another shows young people in Mosul and their faces obscured, of course, by headscarves for protection, talking about life under the Islamic State, saying that the branding philosophy for the entire pilot project was not to appear judgmental or be moralistic, but really to pique interest of individuals who have questions that are being raised and answered by the Islamic State. And saying that the idea that you can't measure consumption patterns online is frankly absurd. And so, it's this is a very, very different idea, where essentially they are using Google's very, very powerful analytics and technology to direct people who use certain keywords. So, maybe if you, again, 1,700 of them, many, many, many of them are, again, kind of focused on the radicalized, very, very minority, sectors out there, where they will direct you to videos that will hopefully, in their mind, get you to ask more questions and hopefully, kind of seek out more knowledge that opposes certain views that they may hold, and, potentially stop some of these very, very bad things that happen when someone gets too radicalized in their point of view. And of course, asking questions is always a great way to learn. And, I really do feel like, a lot of these hate groups, no matter what they hate or why they hate it, but if you hate it to a point where you are willing to commit violence, then maybe asking questions isn't the worst thing in the world. So, that was a very interesting article. And again, Google, who knew Google was doing so much to fight terrorism, of all things. And with that being said, we covered the first day when that whole video broke of a gentleman who had a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, and he took the video of it, kind of all scorched and showing, when it's charged too much and too long, then it has the capability of catching fire, the batteries exploding, and, being a fire hazard and, of course, a health risk. And, of course, Samsung was very, very quick to act. Like, the day it came out and the day that they did some testing, they said that, return your device, no questions asked, just return a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, and we will ship you a brand new one that is not defective, and all you have to do is just get it to us. And, of course, they pulled millions upon millions of phones off the shelves and out of people's homes because, so many of these were already hitting the markets in so many different fields. And now it's finally happened where, even though with all the recalls, I guess people are still using them, again, against better warning by so many, people out there. But it happened where a 6-year-old boy has been burned when a Samsung Galaxy Note 7 explodes in his hand. And this is exactly the kind of thing that they were warning about, and the thing that they have been, so desperately trying to get everyone who purchased one to return it instead. And this is, of course, what we've been, and by the way, this is from a publication called Phone Arena, and by Phone Arena. And so this is exactly what we've been afraid of, and why we continue to implore people to shut down their Samsung Galaxy Note 7 and have it returned. Where last night, a 6-year-old boy in Brooklyn, New York, was burned when the Galaxy Note 7 he was holding exploded in his hand. And, the youngster was rushed to the downstate medical center via ambulance with burns to his body. And the kid's grandmother said that her grandson was watching videos on the phone when the battery exploded. It set off alarms in the house, and luckily for the child, he was able to return home, although he is now afraid of going near any phones. Not many 6-year-olds are going to completely understand that defective phones are different than normal phones. And I can see how that could, cause a little bit of trauma. And so the family has been in touch with Samsung, but didn't reveal anything about the conversations that, of course, took place. And there's even an update where a spokesperson for Samsung has reached out to Phone Arena with a statement on the incident saying, quote, "We are engaged with the Lewis family to ensure we are doing everything we can for them and their son. Customer safety remains our highest priority as we are investigating the matter." And, of course, Samsung is telling all Galaxy Note 7 owners to turn off the device and send it in for an exchange. And the manufacturer is giving the owners two options, where they can either get a Samsung Galaxy J as a loaner and exchange that for a Galaxy Note 7 when Samsung has shipped a revised version of the phone, or the fabric can be exchanged for a Samsung Galaxy S7 or S7 Edge model. And the price difference will be refunded. Refunds will also be coming for Galaxy Note 7 accessories returned, and a $25 gift card or bill credit, and be given to the owner of the Galaxy Note 7. And of course, they want to point out that the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge has had issues of its own and is the subject of a lawsuit who suffered second and third degree burns when his Galaxy S7 Edge exploded in a shirt pocket. These batteries, man. And so just to finish out here, they're saying that Samsung will reportedly deactivate all recalled units after September 30th. And until then, either exchange the phone or turn it off. And of course, it's it can happen. And, I think we should just, kind of jump right into this one, because I've heard that this is actually pretty misleading, but it kind of goes into what we were just talking about here, about the, Samsung Galaxy Note 7s and how they were going to remotely brick all of the unreturned phones. And, again, I don't know how true that is, so, from the same publication, let's talk about this one, where, of course, we just went over this, that Samsung has issued a recall for all Samsung Galaxy Note 7s, and that have already been shipped from its warehouses. But of course, it's it's going to take a few weeks, and we're talking about at least 2.5 million phones that Samsung must replace with new devices that do not include batteries manufactured by Samsung SDI. And however, the recall process is pretty different and varies by country, where the United States can easily switch to another flagship like the S7 or the S7 Edge. And if you've already ordered or paid for the Note 7, you will receive a $25 gift card from Samsung. Where in other countries, you can either replace or send it in to be fixed and have it sent back to you. And of course, what if you don't want to exchange your newly acquired Samsung Galaxy Note 7 for various reasons? And apparently, you won't be able to use it for too long, since the South Korean company plans to deactivate all faulty units after September 30th. Although, according to a gentleman on Reddit, he was told by Samsung that every recalled phone will be remotely deactivated after the end of September. And that means customers who bought the Galaxy Note 7 won't have any other choice than to follow the procedure Samsung has put into place in countries where the phablet is available for purchase. So, if you own the Galaxy 7 and you think that, and if you don't really need to take advantage of the exchange program, then you might want to reconsider, as they may just be considering bricking all of the unreturned devices. Although, of course, I can't, be certain of that, and I've heard reports that they are not going to do that. But either way, Samsung highly recommends it. We highly recommend it. There aren't really too many reasons to stick to your guns here and say, I'm not going to return my phone, because it's a pretty big deal. You definitely do not want to keep something that has the possibility of exploding. And again, it mostly explodes when you leave it plugged in and charging for a certain number of times. I'm sorry, for a certain amount of time. And, it's maybe overnight, maybe it's, when it's already at full. The battery just has a really hard time of cooling itself off. And after it reaches a certain point, boom. And, if you're a 6-year-old, you get burned. And if you're anyone else, it's a fire hazard. It's not good. So definitely, if you bought a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, take advantage of it, get the new phone, and, don't take the risk. Just that easy. All right. So continue on here with, and again, we, we're really, really close to the break here, but just to, kind of tell you about stories that are also coming up, we also have a program about the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, which, and along with people like, the Human Rights Watch, the Amnesty International, all these kinds of things, with the new movie coming out called Snowden, I'm sure you've seen commercials of it, there's going to be a renewed debate about Edward Snowden and if he should be pardoned and if he should be allowed back in the country, or if he should be, finally captured and sent off to, of course, to court, and inevitably life in prison for his, for his dealings with releasing NSA and, other government secrets that led to the American public knowing about the massive surveillance going on by its own government of its own citizens that was promised to counter terrorism, but instead was just being used to monitor, and even in many cases that they found was being abused by those who were actually doing it. So yeah, there's going to be a renewed conversation, and we're going to go over a story about how people are asking that Obama, before he leaves office, pardon Edward Snowden, and we're probably going to get into why it probably won't happen, why it should happen, and of course, the movie itself. So yeah, stay with us here on Computer America. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Sometimes, disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes, disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf's staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to No Kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
I'm Gary Kay at Tech 50 Plus for Computer America, and I'm having a senior moment. Self-driving taxis in Singapore. Uber bringing self-driving Volvos to Pittsburgh. Ford Motors announces plans for a fleet of self-driving cars without steering wheels or gas pedals to hit the road by 2021. Yes, the age of the self-driving car is upon us. The 50-plus generation has mixed feelings. Some think they have better judgment than a machine. Others are just technophobic. But many understand that as we age and lose our reflexes and our eyesight, the self-driving car may be the best way to retain our mobility and our independence. Self-driving cars will be here. Don't oppose it, embrace it. But they won't come overnight. And for those of us who still enjoy getting behind the wheel of a fun sports car, don't worry, you won't be an endangered species for years to come. And that's my senior moment. I'm Gary Kay at Tech 50 Plus for Computer America.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour here in the first hour as we continue on doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. And yeah, we just finished up a story about we covered everything you need to know about the return policy for the Samsung Galaxy 7 Note, I believe, which is the one that is exploding and hurting people, and of course is something that you should definitely take advantage of if you are one of the people who bought in early. And again, it's a problem with the battery. It explodes, it overheats, catches fire. Not something you want happening when you aren't paying attention, or even when you are paying attention. It's can be very, very dangerous. And yeah, we're going to move on to this next story, and it is a very interesting one. We're going to touch lightly on it, but it's it's something that I actually remember talking on the show about when it first happened, because heck, this was only like 2 years ago when all this broke, and it was a big deal between Project Prism and the NSA, and all the different and all the different things that were going on that we really didn't know about. And by the way, it was I think 3 years ago. I'm sorry, not 2, but man, time flies. Where this is from, again, Motherboard, which is a Vice publication, and is by Jason Kobler, where the ACLU is about to launch a campaign asking Obama to pardon Edward Snowden. And of course, the long-expected campaign will start just 2 days before the Oliver Stone Snowden hits theaters. And the hope is that Stone's largely sympathetic portrayal of the whistleblower will further help Snowden's image nationwide. They have a quote here saying that, I think Oliver will do more for Snowden in 2 hours than his lawyers have been able to do in 3 years. And of course, this was after a screening of the movie. We are going to be doing both a mass signature campaign around the world and trying to get prominent individuals and organizations to join our call to President Obama to pardon Snowden before he leaves office. And of course, starting Wednesday, which again 2 days from now, the group will ask for signatures in support of Snowden at of course pardonsnowden.org, and much of the site is currently password protected, but the shell that is currently up confirms that both the ACLU and the Amnesty International will be involved. And of course, that civil liberties groups and Snowden's legal team would formally ask for a pardon as Obama is set to leave office is no surprise. And they hope to build a really strong case. But of course, there's a couple things standing in the way here. And of course, the author said that he'll have a full review of Snowden later in the week, but he can confirm that fears that the movie would be overly dramatic and perhaps would suck are unfounded. Luckily, seeing NSA agents use dramatized versions of Prism which could pull private data from the servers of Apple, Google, and Facebook, and several other major tech companies. A sort of hybrid, and of course using a thing called X-Keyscore, which is a sort of hybrid search/spy engine for people, is far more visceral for more people than reading another Glenn Greenwald scoop or Snowden interview. So Stone said Sunday that he didn't set out to make a specifically activist film, but noted that he wanted to stick as close to the truth as possible without turning the film into a bore. And of course, for those of you who don't know, Snowden was charged in 2013 under the Espionage Act, a 1917 law. Yes, he was charged almost 100 years after. And of course, 100 years ago, you really knew a lot about digital communication and just the capabilities that that were possible. Not really, but we find that most of our laws that govern technology were founded, in the 1800s, 1900s, and just legislation is very, very slow to pick up to technology's kind of pace. But at any rate, so he was charged under a 1917 law that forbid the dissemination of classified information. And that law makes no distinction between a whistleblower giving documents about illegal government activities to journalists and spies who give the information to foreign governments. Wisner said that winning a case under the law would be exceedingly difficult because it would prevent him from bringing evidence about the reforms Congress has made since he first began leaking information. And they have a quote here from his legal defense saying that unless the government is willing to consider charging him with something appropriate, there's not going to be a trial if we have anything to say about it. That doesn't mean that there couldn't be some kind of agreement. We think that the proper response to Edward Snowden shouldn't be what the punishment should be. It should be how to thank him. And until that case, he is living safely where he is. And for everyone out there who does not know about Snowden's current whereabouts, he is, I believe, currently living in an apartment in Russia. And it's crazy to think about, and again, I can completely understand why he got his own movie. It's just crazy to think about, a guy who was working for the government, had, had a $100,000 plus job, obviously going to live very, very comfortably, and he decided that he was going to give all of that up, I don't know if he really understood the consequences of his actions. I assume that he did. That when he alerted the media and he took files, that were of course classified, and again, I don't think espionage was the first thing on his mind, but rather being a whistleblower and showing the government was collecting all this kinds of data. I don't think he expected, the consequences and the fallout that he has. I believe he has like a wife and a kid, and for the last 3 years he's had to live in Russia, which I'm pretty sure he had never been to before. He had to live there just so he didn't get arrested. It's crazy to think about, but just one day you're living very, very comfortably, and in the next you are now hiding from your own government so they don't imprison you for life for what you feel was a public service. And again, there's going to be a campaign, which again you can sign a petition at pardonsnowden.org, which again will start in 2 days on Wednesday. Wednesday, September 14th, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, definitely go check that out. And we here at Computer America have been completely open that we really do support what Edward Snowden did. It definitely took a lot of courage, and like I said, it's is not a decision, or at least something that was done, with a very, very light heart or anything like that. But what it's revealed, I think, is completely worth, everything that's happened. It's very, very overreaching of what they did. So, at any rate, definitely worth checking out. And hey, also go see the movie. It sounds like a not a laugh track, but sounds like a pretty good movie. And of course, like I said, would probably translate very, very well to the theater. All right, and so I think next we are going to do this article from Engadget. And again, Engadget, if you haven't seen them or at least read them, they have a lot of great publications, and they really know how to churn out the content. And yeah, this is about Facebook Messenger. And for those of you who don't know what a chatbot is, a chatbot is kind of the next iteration of those really, really old school digital assistants that a lot of websites used to use on their on their homepages. And it's like, hey, can I help you? And you had to input the proper keywords, and it would send you through kind of a tiered list of dialogue. And chatbots, of course, use artificial intelligence, machine learning, what have you. And Facebook has one of the better ones out there where you can use chatbots to do more and more things. And now one of those things, according to Andrew Dalton, who is again writing for Engadget, says that they can now support payments. So if you want to buy something from a robot, hey, that happened, or that can happen, where Facebook Messenger chatbots can now support payments. And this is in the latest version of Facebook Messenger, where it adds a new feature to the 30,000 or so chatbots that currently inhabit its platform. And starting today, with version 1.2, those Messenger bots can now accept payments directly in the chat without sending users to an external website. And the feature was announced today at TechCrunch Disrupt by Facebook's Messenger chief, David Marcus, who noted that the payment system will support most credit cards and payment services, including Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, PayPal, and Braintree. And from the consumer side, users will see Buy Now links popping up in relevant chats. And tapping the link will bring up a quick payment confirmation tab, and that automatically defaults to whichever credit card a user has tied to their Facebook or Messenger account. And the feature is currently available for certain developers as a closed beta, but businesses and developers can still apply to be included in the test run before it rolls out. And in addition to the speedy new payment system, the latest versions of the Messenger platform also allows developers to pull the additional UI elements like quick responses, shipping notifications, or flight updates, as well as the ability to make newsfeed ads point directly to the Messenger chat. And, there's some other things to go along with it, but the big thing here is that Facebook is making it really easy. I think they were making it easy before to kind of send money through them. Now it's making it really easy to, give them money and give their clients money through the Messenger app. Very, very cool. And, of course, I haven't really seen the capabilities of these chatbots, but, if there's already, 30,000 of them, then they must be doing something pretty dang cool. And I'm wondering if there's anything we can use a chatbot for here on Computer America. Of course, we're not selling a product, and of course, there's nothing you can really buy from us. Although we do have a store somewhere where you can buy things like baby bibs. But, baby bibs and t-shirts and coffee mugs and things like that. But, I'm trying to think if there is... No, I don't think there's anything we need a chatbot for. I have my own chatbot. Who knows? All right. So there's that. So there's that one. And then let us move over to this new one where it's Google VR. You know them. They're Google. And, Google VR, which was Google Cardboard, was, I think, their most popular one, where they send you a cardboard cutout kit. It was like $10, and you assemble it, slide in certain supported phones, and everything inside of it. Well, they send in certain supported phones, and then they have little apps. They had videos. You can check out 360-degree videos on YouTube. It allowed you to get kind of a cut rate virtual reality experience, but it was enough to give you the idea of just what virtual reality was all about. And now, turns out that Google VR camera now comes to the iPhone, one of the bigger platforms out there that it had not been on. And again, Nathan Ingram for Engadget, where one of the biggest challenges facing virtual reality is a matter of creation. if you have lots of cash, you can make things happen. But, of course, it's been a bit more challenging for people whose best camera is their smartphone. And Google is working on changing that, where last December it released the Cardboard Camera app for Android, and it has finally arrived for the iOS. So, while it may not let you shoot highly involved VR video, Cardboard Camera still manages to make some pretty excellent creations, where using it is similar to shooting a panorama photo, something most smartphone owners are used to at this point, but in this case, you'll shoot in full 360 degrees, turning consistently to your right until you have gone around a full circle. And the app also gives you the option of recording audio to add to the ambiance of the scene to finish your creation. And once done, of course, you can view the photo in Google Cardboard VR Viewer, but unfortunately, the app doesn't have you capture what's above or below you. So the VR aspect of it isn't as robust as it could be. But it's a fun way to create and share immersive photos. In fact, Google has added better sharing features so that you can send and receive VR photos created in the app, where you can share individual photos and galleries through Google Drive, and the recipient will be the recipient will be prompted to download and install Google Cardboard Camera if they already don't have it. But this is technology that you can go out and check out yourself right now. If you go to YouTube and you type in 300, you just check out Google. But if you look up 360-degree videos or, what have you, you already get kind of a cut rate experience with the browser. And, it pulls up YouTube just like any other YouTube video, but it allows you to, kind of pan 360 degrees. And it allows you to look at a video. Of course, it's going to be much, much better if you have some kind of virtual reality headset, be it Google Cardboard or, any of the Samsung or, of course, any of the Oculus Rift or anything like that. 360-degree video, it looks very, very cool. And, I've only tried the HTC Vive, but they're right, where one of the biggest things holding VR back at the moment is content. Who wants to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a headset, or even take the time out of their day to order a Google Cardboard, for $10? Who wants to do that if, the only thing that they offer you is little gimmicky videos and pictures and tours, when there's a day where you can go out and, watch exclusively virtual reality movies, or, of course, play exclusively virtual reality video games, maybe comics, can experience in 360, just exclusively 360 degree experiences that aren't just, kind of cheap ports or, or anything else. Like, they have to be optimized for virtual reality. That's when virtual reality gets exciting, because otherwise it's just the same experience you've been having, like reading a book or watching a video, but it has this really weird, kind of gimmick that, I can see what's behind me, even though all the action is in front of me. Now I can look behind me and see absolutely nothing. There's going to need to be content, and this is one of the first steps to that content. Admittedly, it's a very, very low-end one, where it seems to be just more, kind of photos and, kind of like panorama extended. But, let's say you're on, in the Grand Canyon. Let's say you're at a family picnic. Let's say you're, just somewhere where you want to capture everything around you. Then, like they said, in a pinch, this could be just what you want to create those better pictures. Instead of snapping, 5 or 10 different photos all around you, you could just take the one 360 and really capture what it is you are experiencing. Could be just what you want. Now, of course, it's not as robust, and there will be better options out there. Like, I've already seen better rigs where you hook up, I want to say, half a dozen, GoPros, and like that right now I think is like one of the better options. I mean, other than spending $3,000 on a virtual reality camera, there are options out there. It's just a lot of them are going to break the bank, and this is not that situation. So very, very cool. And again, that one came from Gadget. let us turn our attention to, no. Yeah, okay. I'm a sucker for video games. And by the way, if you are also a sucker for video games, tomorrow on the show we have our good friend and correspondent. He's actually our gaming correspondent, Josh Boykin. And tomorrow is Gamer Tuesday, where we do everything with Josh Boykin concerning video games. We already have the topics. We're going to talk about PAX West. Josh Boykin was able to be out there and cover PAX West, which is like the Penny Arcade Expo. And he was able to go out there, see demos of new games, and see hardware, software, and just have a really, really fun time. We're going to be talking about everything he saw out there, as well as everything that they talked about during the PlayStation 4 Pro announcement. And of course, what that means for PlayStation and consoles in general. And also a little bit about the iPhone 7 and the Mario Runner, I believe, is what they talked about. So if you are also a sucker for video games, tune in tomorrow, and we will have much, much more to talk about in regards to video games. But here's something a little that we're not going to be talking about tomorrow, but this is by Nick Summers, where Titanfall's mobile debut is a Hearthstone with mechs. And of course, Hearthstone is a digital card game. And turns out Titanfall, which was again kind of the first-person shooter PlayStation console pusher, which really in a lot of respects was not, but they keep trying to push it, and a lot of people get excited about it, but then it doesn't have nearly enough endgame content, and it's a little disappointing. But regardless, if the author told you Titanfall was coming to your smartphone, what would you imagine the game would be? Maybe a side-scrolling shoot 'em up like Metal Slug, or a Titan customization tool, or maybe even a portable friendly strategy game like Advance Wars. And it's not. Where Titanfall Frontline, by the way, is the name of the app, is none of these. It's a digital card game similar to Hearthstone. But before you dive back into Blizzard's Tavern, hear Respawn out. And Respawn is, of course, the makers of the game. The developers of the game. And the company has teamed up with Nexon, best known for MapleStory, to build out new card and mechanics that could feel authentic to the Titanfall universe. And, of course, and maybe it'll be more than just an uninspired reskin, where Titanfall Frontline has hundreds of pilots, robots, and special ability burn cards, which players can accrue and incorporate into their own decks. And the game will accommodate different play styles. Will accommodate different play styles too, so you can choose to rush your opponents with a group of light nimble pilots, or wear them down with slower defense-oriented troops. So there's going to be some aspect of There's going to be some aspect of strategy involved in this, and that is kind of one of the things that you need when you talk about a card game like this. Is because if it doesn't have strategy, then there's not going to be a lot of interest in playing it for long periods of time. If it's just who has the best cards, then it becomes kind of a play-to-win, kind of cheesy kind of game, and that is of course the death knell to any mobile game. You really need that high skill ceiling. You really need that the replayability for the app to live on. And of course, it's Titanfall Frontline is coming to iOS and Android this fall, and will no doubt coincide with the release of Titanfall 2. And it's a common tactic employed by the video game developer, where with so many players on mobile, it makes sense to target them first, or simultaneously with a free-to-play title. And when their interest is piqued, you drop your full-fledged game, and hopefully, just hopefully, they go on over to your main product, which will, of course, be, again, Titanfall 2. Square Enix is making similar things happen with the Justice Monsters 5, which is ahead of the Final Fantasy 15 coming out this November. And Titanfall Frontline is in a trickier position because as the card dueling genre is so far removed from the base game, or at least the game that a lot of people recognize. And, it's something I would definitely have to agree with that. Yeah, and so, wow. And yeah, I would definitely have to agree with that. It's when you have these far removed things, although it's worked successfully before. And what comes immediately to mind is definitely the idea that, the thing that comes immediately to mind is Fallout 4 and Fallout Shelter. And Fallout Shelter was very, very different than just the regular Fallout 4 game. But at the same time, it was addictive. It had a lot of replayability. You could, it kind of wet people's whistle for a Fallout type game. But it wasn't a clunky kind of port. It wasn't, the gameplay was definitely optimized for the mobile platform. Like, it wouldn't have worked in any other thing. It was its own game, but at the same time, it had such strong ties to, what they were kind of promoting. As far as digital games being essentially, little promotions for their base game, there aren't too many that did it better than what Fallout did. So I think Titanfall is hoping and expecting the same thing to happen, where they have a real hit on their hands. And again, it's not something that they really have to support for years and years and years to come. No, they just have to support it and hopefully have enough content to get people excited enough for Titanfall 2. And hey, what's better than an ad that you can have people sit down and play for hours upon hours at a time. It's going to do its job better than really anything else. And yeah, again, that was Titanfall 2 and Titanfall Battlefront. So yeah, check that out. All right, and let us talk about this one. We talked a little bit about virtual reality with the, with the Google Cardboard, kind of Google Camera kind of deal. And how about this one? This one is a really, really weird one because I've never even heard about it before, but they have a new version. And what? We're going to have to get into this in the second hour because actually I'm not hearing from my guests at all, and that is unfortunate, but, second hour guest looks like it's going to have to reschedule them as well. But in lieu of The Cure, we're going to be doing more computer and technology news. So stay tuned for that, and we're going to get into the story about MSI. Says that its virtual reality backpack, yes, a virtual reality backpack computer, is the lightest yet. And, I can imagine my VR-ready computer strapping that on my back. That's, 30, 40 pounds. Let's hope their backpack is a little bit lighter than that in general. So, yeah, like I said, we're going to be doing that one from John Finkus, and we have many, many more news stories to go through, including, some things about TiVo and their new application, as well as, even Google and how they are helping the diabetic, treatment problem. So yeah, stay tuned here with Computer America. We have more in hour 2. Stay tuned.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the Computer America Show. Really, you'd think I'd be better at this by now, but just now learning what the automation time schedule is. But yeah, welcome into the Computer America Show. It is hour 2, where we continue to do computer and technology news. Hopefully, in the short term, we hope to hear from our second hour guest, who is again The Cure. It's a kind of like an insurance policy against malware and any other kind of infection that you can get on your computer. But in the meantime, we will continue to do computer and technology news, and hopefully they can join us before the show ends. And it's okay because, there's a lot of interesting stories out there about, new products and about, legal kind of stuff. And hopefully, we can keep you happy and working through your Monday because, hey, if you're on the East Coast, The workday's just about over, and we really do appreciate it if you want to ride it out here with us at Computer America. And yeah, like I was saying last hour, the one we were about to get into before we had to break for the break. Yeah, this is from Engadget, John Fingus, and MSI says its VR backpack computer is the lightest yet. And, you can definitely go check out a picture of this thing. It looks kind of like a transformer or like even an old game system, like a Super Nintendo kind of strapped to a back. But, yeah, they're saying that it's the lightest yet. And if you are worried about that cable that's hanging off you, then, the options that they were exploring were either to cut the cord, use wireless, and of course that adds latency. And when you add latency, like even milliseconds at a time, to a virtual reality experience, it can be very, very disorientating, kind of lead to motion sickness, or just all around not a realistic experience and not good. And so, yeah, that was your option. Either go wireless with the headset, or turns out what MSI is planning is to put a computer on your back with a big old battery and say, well, now you get to wear your computer while you play your video games. So hopefully that works out. And let's hear some more about it, where, again, they showed off the original virtual reality backpack design at Computex just a few months ago. And it's already obsolete, as MSI has unveiled the finished product, which is called VR1. And it looks nothing like the prototype you saw in June. And and of course there's good reason for that, where the official hardware is billed as the world's lightest and thinnest VR backpack, weighing a more reasonable 7.9 pounds versus the 10 before. And of course, it won't be quite so noticeable when you're spinning around the room, in other words. And that's not the only improvement, where MSI has taken concerns of performance and battery life to heart. And the VR1 not only gets an upgrade to a faster GTX 1070 mobile graphics card, which of course includes an overclocked Core i7 processor, but runs about 50% longer than the Computex model at about 1.5 hours of VR use. Still not very impressive, but for a VR experience, it's pretty good. And since there are now dual battery packs, you don't have to shut down entirely to keep playing. You can hot swap batteries as much as you like, which is particularly handy if you're either an avid player or want to share the backpack with others. And of course, MSI hasn't divulged the launch details for the VR1, although it had promised that a back-mounted system would be available by the end of the year. And of course, it's reasonable to say that this won't be cheap given both the higher-end parts and the VR-specific requirements, such as, of course, those gigantic removable batteries. And again, you can go check this out over at msi.com. And it's under the VR products, and it's again the VR1, and you can see a picture of this thing. I mean, it's classic MSI. If you know them, they're all about the silver and black and red. That's those are kind of their telltale color scheme. But I mean, just looking at it, like the batteries, if you have ever had an old school laptop and had those big old brick batteries that were removable, then you're going to be very at home with the batteries that are included. And, you can pop them out, pop them in whenever you want, and it will power the whole thing. And I think if you have a set of these, 2 sets of these, then you'll be able to charge one set while you're playing with the other. And again, they claim it's very, very lightweight at just under 8 pounds, but of course there's always room for improvement. And, again, just looking over the specs of this thing and looking at it, it's, I think 1.5 hours, in all honesty, is probably still a little bit too short. The removable batteries definitely help in that regard. So hopefully you get, 3, 4.5, however many hours that you really do need to get the full VR experience that you want. But at the same time, it's a novel idea. It's a novel idea for sure. And I really do appreciate that they, switched over to the new architecture, from NVIDIA. I think that's where a lot of the performance and a lot of the battery life kind of comes from, is that they switched over to the Pascal architecture for the NVIDIA graphics cards. And that, of course, comes with huge battery life savings, and that comes with better utilization of resources. Just better graphics cards led to, I think, all of this. And that's very, very good. And I think we're going to have them on the show if I can wrangle that. So, hopefully we'll be able to talk to the creators and just what kind of niche they're hoping to solve with a backpack that is essentially mounted. A computer that is essentially mounted like a backpack so you can enjoy virtual reality. And so, with that being said, we continue on here doing computer and technology news brought to you by Summer Utilities in Hour 2. And I think we're going to go over to SoundCloud. And SoundCloud is a service that we've been using for quite a while now. I don't think we're still using it anymore because it wasn't doing what we wanted. Of course, if they do allow certain integration, we're going to jump back to them. But they do have a lot of great services for independent artists and for people who are just trying to spread their music, and people who want to find new artists. Then really you can't go better than SoundCloud. And with a new promo, if you've been thinking about jumping in, even though it's a couple $100, for a user, it only costs, I think, like $10 for 3 months or what it used to be. But if the price tag had always kind of put you off, there's something that could interest you even more. And that is, they could give you 3 months of music for just under $1 or 99 cents. And yeah, this is an article from Engadget from John Fingus. And yeah, SoundCloud Go promotion gives you 3 months of music for just 99 cents. When it comes to a streaming service, can't do better than that. And of course, it's hoping that you'll give its underdog streaming service a shot. Where SoundCloud Go's streaming service is barely half a year old, but the company is already determined to attract hesitant listeners. And it's launching a week-long promo that will give you 3 months of unlimited ad-free music for 99 cents. Or 99 pence if you're in the UK. They really want to keep that 99 thing going on. If you subscribe by September 19th. And that's similar to offers we've seen from the likes of Google and Spotify. And however, it's more important here, while of course there's a real chance that you have at least a passing acquaintance with Google Play Music or Spotify, SoundCloud Go is relatively new and untested. This is your chance to give it an extended try without dropping $30. And when SoundCloud hasn't had much success getting customers to bite, a good deal like this could be just what they need. And this is a problem that we see with a lot of services. I mean, it can come from a company that everyone knows. I think everyone knows SoundCloud because they have really, really reasonable payment schemes or even a freemium model that allows a lot of people to use their services for absolutely free and spread their music, whatever sounds that they want to get out there. And it's just a great social media thing, but it really does a good job focusing on, the music or the sound or whatever it is you may be doing. And yeah, but here we have, again, they're trying their SoundCloud Go, which is going to be a competitor to Google Music and to Spotify. But when you have something, and companies that are trying to compete with the likes of Netflix, or companies that are trying to compete with the likes of Steam, or companies that are trying to compete with any other service that has such a large majority of users and very, very, very low levels of discontent, it's really hard to break into those because, it's like not many people are saying that Spotify costs too much money. Not too many people are saying that Netflix costs too much money. Not too many people are saying that Steam, costs too much money. It's just really hard to break into industries where people have a very reliable option and it's affordable and there's really not a lot of downsides to switching to something new and something that they haven't really heard of yet. I mean, SoundCloud I think has a good leg up in this because, like I said, they've been around for quite a number of years, but they're climbing an uphill battle here. And again, that's why this week-long promo of 99 cents for 3 months of ad-free streaming unlimited music is something to sit up and pay attention to, because they really don't care that they're probably going to be losing money off this whole deal, but they want people talking about it. They want people using the service and of course, just giving it a good shot. So yeah, and it's it's something definitely worth giving a try. Go over to SoundCloud, and I'm sure you'll find the promotion. And folks, if you bear with me for just a second, we are going to try to get our second hour guest on the show here. Although the paperwork behind it is, to put it simply, not really filled out, but we are going to give this a shot anyways and see how well this whole thing goes. So again, the second hour guest, as promised, is Mel Arthur. He is a TV spokesperson for The Cure, and The Cure again is The Cure is a program for, let me start over here. So we have received the caller, or I'm sorry, we have our guest, we have Mel on the line, and just to give everyone out there a little background, Mel is a TV spokesperson, or I'm sorry, the TV spokesperson for The Cure and other products seen on TV. And today on the show, we are going to be talking about The Cure, which again is a one-stop solution for everything concerning malware and virus and things that can crash your computer and many other things. We have him here to talk about everything that is involved with The Cure. He's going to know a lot about it, and we look forward to having him on the show. So, without much else to say, Mel, welcome on to the Computer America Show. One sec.
Ben, how are you, buddy?
Oh, doing wonderful. And again, Mel, I think you are much more familiar with Craig, but for your sake and for anyone out there who may be just joining us, Craig is currently out sick. We'll let everyone know when he's back.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, but he's definitely listening. So, again, I'm sure he looks forward to this whole interview with you. So yeah, sorry about getting a little bit late. If I'm just being honest here about why I kind of hesitated, normally before interviews we kind of do a question process. Submit us questions, we can talk about it. But Mel, this is going to be a fun one because, hey, we're just going to wing it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Mel, you have been on the show before, so longtime listeners know you. But why don't you tell everyone else a little bit of your background, kind of what you've been doing, and then of course how you got into something like The Cure.
Thanks. And by the way, just let me say, Craig, if you're listening, we hope you're feeling better. Everybody loves you. Great friend to an expert to the industry. So we're sorry to hear that you're under the weather.
Well said.
I've actually worked with Craig and been on the show for a number of years. I've always been fascinated by technology and all my years, and I actually worked in the computer industry before I got into television and worked with Home Shopping Network and QVC, and then produced a number of shows for the Saving Shopping Channel. I was on with Magic Jack for a number of years and handled all their marketing and introduced their product.
Mm-hmm.
But I met a gentleman by the name of Peter Spezza about 2 years ago, and we were at a convention in Las Vegas, and he was telling me about this company, Centurion Technologies, that for the last 17 years had developed a technology for the commercial industry only, not for the home industry, whereby they had 100% virus protection.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's impossible. And he said, no, because basically here's how it works. Antivirus today just can't do the job because the more you read about it, there's astounding numbers. There are hundreds of thousands of new viruses that hit the internet every day. The hackers are sitting in these foreign countries and in internet cafes and they're changing the virus definitions every couple of hours. So by the time your antivirus company gets the virus definition, it's already too late. There's a new one on the way, and they just can't catch them all. So the issue is people are getting more and more and more viruses, and they're also getting hit with this ransomware, whereby somebody gets inside your computer, and then you get a message on the screen that says, you need to pay us $200, $300, $400, $500, or you're never going to be able to access your data again. So when he told me that this company had a 100% solution, I said, no, it can't be. And he said, what the technology that they've developed was that they create inside on your hard drive, and to simplify things, let's call it a vault or a safe house.
Mm-hmm.
So you work inside that vault or that safe house whenever you're working on your computer. And there's this 12-foot steel barrier around that vault. And if a virus gets into the vault, because you're working separate from your data and your operating system, if you have a problem, you can actually even open a virus on purpose, which we actually even demonstrate. So you never have a worry about getting a virus. So you get a virus in there. You simply shut your computer down, you turn it back on again, and when it's turned back on again, the cure destroys everything new that was in that vault, preserving all your old data, but whatever was new, that virus, that ransomware, whatever, is 100% destroyed. And, I mean, this to me was revolutionary. I'd never heard anything about it, so I said, well, who are some of the customers? And he said, well, it's like a who's who. It's the United States Olympic Committee, the U.S. Air Force Academy, Hobart Air Force Base,
Nice.
U.S. Naval Hospital. Recently, just the FBI just ordered 15 units. It's spectacular software. Universities, Columbia University, Penn State University. So then he told me, and this is an interesting thought, and I'm sure you probably experienced it. I'm sure, Ben, at some time you have been at a hotel or a motel and you've printed out a boarding pass on the office computer years ago, correct?
Right.
Right. And did you ever stop to wonder how come that computer that gets used by probably 10 or 20,000 people in the course of a year never gets a virus?
Well, yeah.
The reason is,
yeah. Go ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
So the reason is their technology. Okay, it's used in the hotel business, motel business, internet cafes, universities, university libraries, like I say, Columbia, Penn State, Florida State University, where you have thousands of people accessing the internet on a single system, and somebody either accidentally or on purpose could put a virus on there. Well, every time they get done, they shut it off, turn it back on again, and the virus is destroyed. So I said to him, can we go to this company and can they develop a version of the software that will work on a home system? Doesn't have to be on a server, doesn't have to have an administrator, just simply for the average person who knows nothing about computers, just turn it on, turn it off, it's protected. So 2 years later, they got the system up and running for the home user. It's been out now for, it's been about 14 months. It's been reviewed by PC Magazine and tested by PC Magazine numerous times. Last review of PC Magazine, it said it worked absolutely 100% of the time. Every single virus they tested, every single malware they tested,
Very nice.
100% worked.
Very nice. Yeah, and again, PC Magazine is a perennial favorite for a lot of people in a lot of tests. Like they know how to like if there's something that they that you're gonna miss, PC Magazine would have been the ones to squirrel it out because they cover a lot of different software, and again, and by the way, I know I didn't do this at the very beginning, but ComputerAmerica.com, go there and you'll find everything that we're doing here and everything that we're talking about. And why I bring it up is that if you're driving, if you're doing something and keeping your hands busy, then just go over to ComputerAmerica.com and we have a link over to the cure and the website where you can read even more about it, and of course all the testimonials that they have up here. And and again, Mel, like it's not the easiest thing in the world, though, to kind of port something over from the commercial space over to the consumer space. I mean, it must have been quite a feat for for you guys behind the scenes, because like something in the commercial space, it has to be highly customizable for for large networks. It has to be scalable for enterprise. It has to be able to kind of cover a lot. I mean, like, was it really that simple to go from, well, we're doing an Air Force base here, and that's going to be 13,000 different computers. We just need to really focus on one. Were there any kind of setbacks that you guys kind of experienced when trying to go from from the enterprise space to the consumer space?
Yeah, we had 17 people working on it full time, and there were, we had to debug it, and I would have to say Neil Rubenking over at PC Magazine was fantastic, because he tested it for us numerous times, and then if he came up with something, he would come back to us and say, "You guys need to fix this. Okay, you guys need to you need to fix that." So we wanted to find every possible hole there was, and then through the last version right now, which is our new version for everybody, works absolutely fantastic. When PC Magazine tested it, it worked 100%. It works. This ransomware is some scary stuff. A lot of people aren't familiar with it, and there's nothing out there that gets ransomware. In fact, there's stories on CNN and on Fox News about ransomware, about what people should do if you get ransomware. And the advice is simply, just don't click. Tell everybody, don't click on it. Well, I mean, you and I know that the Internet of all things is a wonderful place, and we want to get all this information, because there's a world of great information out there, and if you're afraid to click, that's all of a sudden it's like a cyber terrorism, right?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad that you brought up the term ransomware, because we've talked, we've had security experts on the show. I mean, Charles Tindall was just on the show, I want to say last month sometime, talking to us about ransomware, and not just that it's a bad thing, but how it is like the go-to. We were talking about how ransomware, in terms of compromising computer hacks and zero-day vulnerabilities and blah 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 blah, like even more so than like Trojan horses or worms, or any of the more common things that I think people may know about from the early 2000s. Like in 2015, ransomware was like 1% or 5% of all malware, and in 2016, so far this year, like 90% have all been ransomware. I mean, it really is on the rise, and you don't want to be the one who has to go figure out how to hand over someone Bitcoin. I mean, it's not fun at all. So it's really cool that the Vault takes that into consideration, because like you said, right now a lot of people are saying the best cure for ransomware is don't get ransomware, and that's not really helpful.
No, it's not, and it's because they don't know about the cure. I've actually called in some local TV shows and told them about it, and they were going, "Wow, that's amazing," because, and again, just to walk some folks through who maybe are not familiar with it. So you click on something. This actually happened to my wife a couple of weeks ago. She clicked on our site, and she comes running in, and she goes, "My computer is making this shrill noise, and there's this mess, and it won't stop." And there's this message on the screen that says, "I have to call this 800 number and pay them to get my data back." So I said, "Honey, no problem. We have the cure." And I said, "All we have to do is just turn it off, turn it on, and the ransomware will be gone." So we turned it off, turned it on. The ransomware was gone. She was thrilled. And, we saw it happen in real time in the house. But it's scary if it happens to you, because if you don't pay them, they encrypt all your files. Now, you can reinstall Windows again, but your data's gone.
Yeah.
Your pictures are gone. Your tax returns are gone. Your business documents are gone. Everything that was important to you, everything that was valuable to you. In fact, Craig came up with a great statement when we had him on the air, and he said, "If you have anything important on your computer, then you need the cure."
That's high praise.
Yeah, and And by the way, I should mention to people that it's the Cure with a K, not
Yes.
a C, in case they're wondering. It's the Cure with a K because it kills viruses dead.
That
And you know, we're also, we came up with the thought, because this is a pretty interesting concept, because we talked to the people at Centurion, and I said to Peter, look, these guys have been in business for 17 years. They currently protect over 2 million PCs worldwide daily that are under protection of the Cure. So it's not like it's just some brand new guy on the block that just came up with some software idea out of his garage. I mean, it's been tested over and over and over and over again. Actually, we just received the patent on it after a number of years of getting, because the patent office is pretty slow.
Mhm.
So it's patented technology. And so it's 17 years, 2 million computers, 0 viruses. So we thought that's pretty good numbers. So we came up with this thought that if you ever get a virus and we can't remove it, we'll replace your computer up to a $1,000 value.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that because, we're going to talk about price a little bit later, but the Cure, like, it's not like, oh, well, the initial fee is $9.99 and the monthly fee is an extra $150 a month. Like, $1,000, you're putting, probably not just the lifetime of the computer, but really almost the lifetime of the user's payments to you. Like, you're putting that on the line for, if something does happen and it's on our watch, then we have your back. I mean, that's...
Yep, yeah. We put our money where our mouth is, and we've even changed the pricing structure. Originally, because all the antivirus companies, they're, $40, $50, $60 a year. We felt like we could bring that price down from, $50 a year because the major part of the development for the software was done for the commercial market. So that was already done. So the R&D cost wasn't as high as somebody starting from scratch. We wanted to make it affordable for people. So we came down to $20 per year. We got a lot of requests from customers that said, I hate having to pay an annual bill. I like to pay something one time, and then I just own it. So we said, fine. So we've since changed that to $49.95 per year, and we'll even break that up into 2 payments of $24.95 just to make it easier for everybody, because we know how tough it is on everybody's wallet today with the way the
Well, I just see it as kind of
for-
classic, as seen on TV, kind of thing. It's like, or 2 payment, it just seems to be natural for as seen on TV. So I get that. But you
Right.
and real quick though, you mentioned that.
I just want to mention we've
go
got
ahead.
something special for your listeners today. Okay, when they go to the website, we have a special today of free shipping and handling. So that's a savings of $5.95 for shipping and handling. So it's
perfect.
up there for 24 hours for your listeners.
Perfect.
And we
And
wanted to do just something a little special for Computer America.
Thank you so much. And Mel, if you want to join us on the other side of the break, we still have a lot more questions for you. So the music means we have to take 3 or 4 minutes. So just stay on the line,
Sure.
and we'll be right back with you. And for everyone out there, stay with us. A few commercial breaks, and then we'll be right back with more Computer America. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Sorry, gender-neutral connectors just can't be AC/DC. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the Intermatic Dual-Tech Motion Sensor. It looks a little like a smoke alarm, but it really houses a PIR, that's passive infrared motion sensor, that can cover 1,600 square feet, plus an ultrasonic motion sensor that can cover 1,000 square feet, plus an ambient light sensor, and you have ways to adjust the sensitivity of all three. It's made for wiring into AC power and selectively powering a load like a light or a motor when either or both you choose of the motion sensor's triggers and when the ambient light level you set is appropriate. You can also set between 5 seconds and half an hour how long the load remains powered when it triggers. So bottom line, the Intermatic Dual-Tech Motion Sensor can bring automation to any room, battery-free. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
There we go. Sorry about that. Welcome back to the Computer America Show. The mute button, very, very hard to hit on the right time. So, so welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour as we continue on here with Mr. Mel Arthur. And again, we're talking about the product called The Cure. That is The Cure with the K, kind of like Keurig, but just K-U-R-E, Cure. And again, it's going to be the last solution that you need for antivirus for your computer. And again, we're about halfway through the interview and really just kind of getting into it because you said a couple things here in the last little bit. And by the way, I went over to the Cure website and you're absolutely right there. It says the offer ends September 13th, 2016, and free shipping and handling for the next 24 hours. And one thing that that obviously kind of piques my interest is because I think a lot of our listeners are very familiar with it, and I know I personally, I haven't received a box of software in quite a long time. What benefit did you kind of see? Like, is that just a demand of your audience? Why are you sending something out? Like, is there an alternative to just download it from the website? What benefit is there to actually shipping a physical product to someone who may purchase the Cure?
We actually, originally when we started out with the Cure, we were doing a download.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of feedback from customers that, as you know, there have been a lot of scams on the internet and on television. Because, television stations, they really don't check out products. Customer, somebody buys time, buys a 2-minute spot or a 1-minute spot or a 30-second spot or a 30-minute spot. They don't really check it out. They just so a lot of people were doing remember these free virus scans that they were doing years ago?
Yeah.
Download this, get a free virus scan.
And they always came up positive. And they always came up positive
on your computer.
Right.
You need to call this 800 number, and then they hit you up for $250. So people became very leery of a download. So we would prefer to do a download, and we think we're going to go ahead in the next month or so. We're actually going to give people an option to get a download instead of get shipping. But some people felt like at least if they received something in the mail that it was the real deal.
Right.
So that was why we went to the shipping. And we don't make a penny on the shipping. By the time you get the cost of the USB and the packaging, and it costs about $3 to ship a package that size, it eats up the whole $5.95.
Right. And again, something that you just mentioned there was USB, obviously not CD, because I know there are actually a number of computers that are no longer built with CD drives. So comes on a USB thumb drive. That's nice.
Right, and we also did away with the floppy disks a couple of months ago too.
Good choice. I cannot recommend highly enough against that. So USB thumb drive ships.
By the way, one thing I did want to mention, because this is a couple of questions that come up commonly from people. They want to, what operating systems does it run on? So it doesn't run on a Mac. It runs only on a PC, and it's Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10. So it works on all those operating systems seamlessly, and it's designed to work alongside your existing antivirus, because the Cure does one thing. The only thing it does is it creates this safe house, on the computer, and that's all it does. It catches everything that the antivirus misses. So typically, according to Computer World, antiviruses miss they do a lot of nice things. They filter email. They do a number of things, filter things that the Cure doesn't do. The Cure is just designed to do this one thing. So if you would envision a coffee maker, and there's a filter inside that coffee maker that holds the grounds and the ground coffee, and the filter is your traditional antivirus. Okay, the coffee pot that catches everything else, that's the Cure. So the traditional antivirus can go through, do its job, filter whatever it can, get whatever it can, and then we do the job. We are the last defense. We catch everything else to protect your data. And it's kind of like they're the seat belt, we're the airbag.
Right.
So it does work, and it works alongside. It works with any antivirus, doesn't interfere with it. We tested with all the major antiviruses. And then the other thing that people always ask is, well, what about my data? Okay, supposing I'm working on the Great American Novel, and I save it, and it saves it all along. But then the Cure comes along, and it says, I'm going to destroy everything that's in that safe house. Well, the Cure is, I like to call it an artificial intelligence. That's just my interpretation of it. And the Cure, when you set it up, it's set up to recognize what's yours and what's from the outside. So your word processing documents, your pictures, your photos, your stuff that you create on Photoshop, whatever, it knows that stuff is yours. Okay? So when it destroys what's inside the safe house, it leaves your stuff alone. Make sure that stuff is okay. So it's a very intelligent software, and it is the one and only protection you have against antiviruses and against viruses and ransomware.
Sounds like it, yeah, and I definitely like your analogy to to the coffee pot and everything like that, and that was definitely one of my next questions was, which you just answered, was how does the Cure differentiate file types and file sources, because these viruses, like you were saying, they get tweaked, they get new definitions, they get like they're very hackers and people like that and malware coders are very good at getting around any kind of possible protection that a user has, because they want your money.
Right.
So hearing that that you guys are really good at kind of identifying, this has a origination from somewhere else. Very, very nice, and it doesn't delete your next great American novel, because we always need one of those.
Right.
Yeah, and again, you can find out all this information over at thecure.com, and you have a lot of information up there. So you're saying that it works in conjunction with traditional antivirus. Do you have any partnerships with any that you kind of recommend, or is it just what you've been using you can keep using?
We had originally for a while we were partnered with McAfee, and one of the issues that we ran into were it's like everybody has their own preference. There are people that love Norton, there are people that love WebRoot, there are people that love Viper, and there are a number of really great antivirus programs on the market that they do a very nice job for what they do. But the nature of the beast is it's just impossible for them to get the 75% that gets by the initial scan. So our feeling was, we didn't want to tie our user to a single antivirus, and people also don't like to pay for something that they're not going to use. So we've separated it. The Cure is a standalone product that's designed to work with any antivirus of your choice. We recommend that you do have an antivirus. We also recommend, and I want people to think, no matter how good the Cure is, no matter how good the antivirus program is, and we will get every virus. You're not going to lose your data that way.
Right.
But you could have a hard drive crash that's physical. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a fire in your home. You know, there are just a number of different things that you could have that could damage your hard drive or your system or your memory, a battery failure, a power surge that fries your system, that can destroy your data, that the Cure can't help you with. The Cure can't help you with something physical that happens, or a hard drive malfunction. So we recommend everybody should always back up your data.
Definitely.
Regardless. Okay. And that's important. Now, a lot of people will say to me then, okay, well, look, I back up my data. So if I back up my data, I really don't need anything, okay? I could just back it up. Now, I don't know about you, Ben, but I have on 2 different occasions had to restore my system from backup. And this has to be the biggest nightmare that you've ever gone through, because you get it done, but eventually, and just to give everybody a synopsis of what happens is, so let's say you're running Windows 10 right now, but originally on your system, you started Windows 7. So you've got to go back, because Windows 10 is going to ask you for the original software. So you have to go back and find all your Windows 7 programs, and then if you updated through Windows 8, you're going to have to go back through all those versions of Windows and all the updates before you can even get to load the Windows 10 back on your system. Then, even though you have all your data backed up, all your programs are gone. Okay, because they were fried with the computer. Okay, so they're all gone. So now you have to have all the downloads and download keys, which you may have lost or forgotten or not written down, and all the CDs.
It can be quite a headache, yeah.
To load all those programs back. Are you getting the picture here now? Now we're talking about, I mean, it could take you a week maybe to do it, or you have to pay somebody, $500 to restore your system. So backup is great, but prevention is the single most important thing.
Prevention is definitely important, and and again, something like the Cure, I definitely do enjoy the idea of kind of the bank vault and just everything happening within one instance. But and again, so far we haven't really mentioned anything that kind of plays towards my my area of expertise. That kind of got me the job on the show. Is I play video games, and I play them sort of well.
Okay.
When using the Cure and the situation that you kind of set up there, is there any kind of latency? And I know for certain like web browsing, word processing, what have you, latency really doesn't matter. But are there any situations where you might want to turn the Cure off, or and how easy / hard is turning the Cure off to do?
If there are certain situations where you may want to turn the Cure off. Now, you won't have any. It's not going to affect any latency, and it's not going to affect your performance. In fact, once you get the system clean, and I'll go into that in a minute, it may even work faster than it did before. But there are times, for example, when you're going to do an update from Windows, for example. Okay, so if you were to update from Windows and leave it yourself in there's 2 modes: protected mode and unprotected mode. So in protected mode, when the Cure is enabled, if you update Windows, next time you turn the computer off, it's going to delete the update because it's something strange that came from the outside. So when you're updating from a trusted site like Microsoft Windows, you disable the Cure, you do your update, it updates the Windows software, and then when you're all done, you re-enable the Cure again. So that's when you go into an unprotected mode. But other than that, anytime something new comes in there, it's going to destroy it.
Right. Makes sense. And definitely.
It is. And here's the thing. You're going to have to change your habits a little bit, okay? You're going to have to turn your computer, on and off a little more frequently than you have in the past. But that's the price you pay to save all your data and to save the headaches of losing everything you've had. I mean, most of us have 5, 10, 15, 20 years worth of stuff on your computer. There's no way to even replace that with what you have to go through. And the other thing I should point out to people is that the Cure is not a virus remover. There are products on the market that remove viruses, and they think, oh, I'll get this USB drive that removes viruses. Well, it removes the virus, but it doesn't bring your data back. Okay, when your data is gone, it's gone. They
Right.
just simply remove a virus. In our case, if when you install a Cure, we believe that we know the best way to do it is on a clean machine. So ideally, you want your system free of all viruses before you install the Cure, because once it's there, it's going to leave all the data that's on your system. If you have a machine that's really messed up, if you have a system that's really messed up, now typically if you go online or you go to one of the big box stores and you have viruses on your system, they're going to charge you usually at least $100.
It's not a pretty picture. Right.
Go ahead and clean your system. So we have a feature with the Cure. We call it 911 emergency repair. So while you're waiting for the Cure, if you sign up for that, it's $19.95 one time, which is a bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because they will stay on as long as they have to clean every single thing that's on your computer. And if they can't clean it and get all the viruses off, they don't charge you. That's a great. So when you order the Cure as a bonus, you can get our 911 emergency service for $19.95, which is a huge savings.
Definitely, and of course, just kind of going off of other technology that I know about, is that remote? Is that like remote access, or is that just to stay on the phone and you have to navigate through it yourself?
No, they'll go on remote access for you.
Okay.
And you just sit back, have a Diet Coke, have a cup of coffee, eat lunch, watch the ball game, whatever you feel like doing, and you may have to do a couple of things. They'll say they may need to restart or do something, but they'll do a lot of restarts and stuff for you, and you just sit there and they do it all. So, and it's a nice way to learn about what's going on in your system, but you're going to end up with a pristine system, and then once your system is cleaned, it will return to that same pristine condition every single time.
Very, very cool. And again, that like, I think this is something that makes the Cure a really good product for maybe less tech savvy users. And not saying that if you use a Cure you're dumb, but no, it's just hey, you buy insurance for your other than being legally mandated, but you buy insurance for your car, you buy insurance for your house, you buy insurance for this, that, or the other.
Right.
And this is what I'm kind of seeing the Cure as is, if you're a less tech savvy user, and you're really worried that you may have to one day, kind of on the fly become your IT guy. Rather, hey, get the Cure, one-time fee, and you're gonna have someone that you can call and say, I need help, and other than paying someone, like you said, a Geek Squad for hundreds of dollars, shipping off someone else. Why not just get the Cure and you're protected and you're good going forward? That's peace of mind. There's something to be said for that.
Oh, you're right, and not only that. In a lot of cases, you have to drag the computer down to the Geek Switch. You have to load it, disconnect.
Well, we recommend carrying it, but dragging it can work too. That's something, yeah.
Oh yeah, and of course the other thing is when you talk about people. I mean, I would say you and I are tech savvy. I mean, I've built and rebuilt computers, and I've worked in and around computers and software since 1970. I used to sell large mainframes back in the 70s for Honeywell, and so I always consider myself tech savvy. The problem is there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of hackers sitting in internet cafes all over the world that are trying to get into our systems. And you know what? As smart as I think they am, those guys are twice as smart. No matter how good you are, how tech savvy you are, these guys do this for a living, and they do it 24 hours a day, and they're constantly coming up with different ideas. So you just look at something innocent and things like, oh, this is a really interesting ad or something I want to see on the internet, and you click on it, and all of a sudden you have a virus, or all of a sudden you've opened an email, or all of a sudden you've got a ransomware, and there's just no going back. You can't take that click back.
Definitely. And so and again, just so I kind of get the full picture of this, the Cure is of course the product that people can go out and purchase, and then the company behind the Cure, which is again Centurion Technologies, are like. Did you kind of have to kind of get your own your own staff and kind of train them to to kind of work on the cure, or is this established company, which is again Centurion Technologies, are they the one who are continuously developing the cure?
Yeah, they're continuing developing the cure. They are the owner and patent holder for the cure, and it's all their staff. And again, these are the same people that are protecting 2 million computers worldwide. The government agencies are flocking to the cure. Everybody sees this as it's the only defense that you have right now. So we have a nice staff. We have technical support available for anybody if they have any questions or problems during all the normal business hours. There's somebody there to answer your questions and to go online. If you need a tech, you on the cure itself, it just says connect to a tech. You click on that and it connects you right to a tech. I mean, I'm kind of the kind of person I have found I like chat sessions better than the phone.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world hates to, for English press 1, for Spanish press 2. What are you calling about? Please explain your problem.
They're supposed to be convenient, and they're not convenient anymore.
Yeah, and honestly, what it is with a lot of companies, it's hard to staff for tech support people on the phone, and then when you get a rush, then everybody just your caller number 75, we can get you in the by February 2017. That's no good. So I prefer chat. I mean, chat where you connect to a tech, you're on with a tech, the tech connects to you, you're chatting back and forth. You can explain to them exactly what your problem is. You're there quickly, and they can get to your problem. They can go online and fix your computer right while you're there. So we really think that we have a great solution. And once you start to use the cure and you see how simple it is, I mean, this is the ultimate protection.
It definitely sounds like it, and again, it's not necessarily replacing malware. It's working in conjunction, and I think that's one of the most important things is that you can get this, and it's going to be some like just that added insurance, that added thing that's going to hopefully keep your file safe. And what we've seen with trends, we have a security expert on every single week, and we say make backups, we say don't click on strange links, don't open strange emails. But no matter how good your antivirus is, no matter how tech savvy you are, I mean, you're human. You're gonna click on a link, you're gonna go to the wrong address, you're gonna click on a banner ad, something wrong is gonna happen. Why not protect yourself? And and again, the cure is sounding really damn good right about now.
It's great, and again, our slogan is never ever get a virus again, guaranteed. And nobody's ever been able to make that statement. And we just simply stand behind the fact that it's 17 years that we've been doing this with 0 viruses. A virus just can't defeat the software. It's just the nature of it is. So it's just absolutely the safest way you can go.
Well, I've always been a believer, never say never, but as long as that as long as you're
I have too, but from what I've seen here, that's why we have our guarantee.
Right.
If you ever get a virus that we can't remove, we'll replace your computer up to $1,000 in value.
And again,
so far we've never replaced one computer.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. By the confidence in your voice, I assume that you have replaced exactly 0 computers, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and we don't expect to. I mean, it's just the way the software is designed. Remember, we're not trying to be all things to all people. We're not a scanner. We don't do a lot of the things that traditional antivirus does. That they do other things besides antivirus. They scan email. They do this. We are the defense of last resort. Okay, that's it. When we're the coffee pot. When it gets through that filter, we're going to catch 100%, and you will not get a virus.
That is, and again, that's what you want to hear from, the software that is defending your computer. That's exactly it. And Mel, we have about like 2 minutes left. Is there anything we didn't cover, anything we didn't touch on that you really feel, our audience should know about?
I think we have everything covered in the. I just want to reiterate to everybody that It's The Cure with a K, K-U-R-E, thecure.com, or go to your guys' website,
Absolutely.
Computer America, and click over on the link. Either way. And we also have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try The Cure. That's important. Try The Cure at home for 30 days. If for any reason you're not satisfied, send it back 100%. Get your money back. And as a special 24-hour program that we have just for your listeners, we have free shipping and handling for the next 24 hours only. So that's on our website.
Very cool. Right. Yeah. And again, you can find links there, and you can go check out thecure.com, and it's everything we've talked about on the show. Of course, everything in text form, and I think we covered a few things here. It's been a very, very interesting interview, and I think we did a pretty good job about explaining just kind of the benefits of, again, no annual fees, just one time, and your computer is safe. And again, to be absolutely clear, the Cure is for one system, right? Like if let's say you have 2 or 3
Right.
computers in a house, you need 2 or 3 Cures.
Right.
Right.
So that's why it's a great time to buy it, because you get free shipping and handling. So if you need 2, you're saving almost $12, right there. And we have people buying 2, 4, 5, 10. We had an order for 50
People have a lot
the
of
other day.
computers.
I mean, if you have a small business.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Mel, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, but thanks again for being on the show and letting all of our listeners know about it. We hope that all of you take advantage of, the free shipping if this is something that really piques your interest. And again, we look forward to, actually, before we let you off, Mel, what's next for The Cure? Because no software company should sit around idling saying they've won the battle. What's coming up next for The Cure?
Well, what really is coming up next for The Cure is getting the word out, okay? Because just not enough people know about it. So we want people to tell as many people as they can about it, because there are people getting ransomware at a ridiculous rate right now. As you say, 90% of these attacks. And our goal right now is a program just to get it out. There's constantly updates for it, which are free, which are included with it. And we don't want anybody to get a virus, and that includes
90
Craig. So I have to say
seconds.
before I go, Craig, get well. Ben did a great job, and as good as he's doing, you have to be worried. You better get back quick, otherwise there won't be a spot for you.
There will always be a spot for Craig. And, of course, there will always be a spot for you, Mel. If you want to come back on next time you have a big update or anything like that, please come back and tell all of our listeners about what you guys are doing over at The Cure. And thanks for being on the show.
You guys are the best, Ben. You and Craig are great. Thanks so much.
Thanks again. And again, everyone, check it out,
60 seconds.
thecure.com. So, Mel, we're going to say goodbye to you. And everyone else, please join us tomorrow as we have Josh Boykin in our Gamer Tuesday. We're going to talk all things video games and video game related. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's been a lot of news building up around that. And, again, you can find that over at computeramerica.com even tomorrow. And, of course, over on YouTube Live, which is a new thing we're doing with live streaming. It's going to be really exciting. So, again, you can check out the archive over at computeramerica.com. If you are just tuning in, sorry, it's the very end of the show. But there are always ways of finding what we are doing over here at Computer America. Tune in all week long, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. through 5 p.m. Eastern, for more Computer America content. And I think that wraps it up. Thank you for joining us. And once again, Craig,
10
do get better.
seconds.
We miss you. And I don't know if I'm doing as well as you are, but everyone else, join us tomorrow, Computer America. And everyone out there listening on the live streaming, we thank you for joining us on there. Something new that we're trying, and again, we are going to fully flesh it out here in the coming weeks. We hope to make it not just an interesting alternative to audio, but maybe the superior alternative to audio. So yeah, keep an eye out for more of what we're doing with YouTube Live, and we will keep you keep updating and hopefully improve the experience. But thank you for joining us on it, and we look forward to coming to you tomorrow again with Josh Boykin and all things gaming related. So see you tomorrow, and thanks for stopping by.